Hi everybody, and compliments of the season to you. Can you believe we're already in December? My name is Claire Holding and I am the owner of 3andMe. Thank you so much for joining me today to paint some Christmas trees. They really have been a fun design to put together and I'm so glad that you got one. So let's get started on it because I know you're going to want to get through it in order to get it ready to put under someone's tree, if not your own. So this is what the final tree is going to look like if you have it lit, but it also looks super cute without the lights. Okay, so we're going to go through the kit and step-by-step instructions because I want you to have it turn out as perfectly as possible. All right, okay, so let's go through what your kit looks like. In your kit you've got 4 wood cutouts. Okay, they're all a little bit different and I will show you how to assemble all of them. If you look at your 4 wood cutout pieces, there's going to be one side that is a little bit mottled. That is because it comes off the laser printed tray. So don't use that side, use the smoother side. All right, but it's up to you. If you want to use the mottled side for an added effect, that's totally fine. You'll also have the 2 rounds for the stand, a sign, and most of you have gone with the Be Still wording. Otherwise, there was also Merry Christmas. You've got 3 paints. There's enough paint here to get you through your craft, and there will actually be more than enough left over. They're really high quality paints, so anything you've got left, hold on to it for a future project. You've got 3 sponge wedges, and most of you have lights. In addition, you will need from home your own glue. I really recommend this one. It is the best for this project, but you can also use wood glue if you'd like to. I highly recommend this one for future projects as well. This is my favorite. So you'll also need masking tape if you've got the lights, a paper plate, a paper towel, and then you can use Sharpies. I'll go through that at the end. But how about we get started? All right. First things we're going to do is paint the 2 triangles that have trees on them. So grab your green paint, okay, there you go, and use a sponge wedge. All right, so that is way too much paint. So I'm going to use my paper plate. I'm going to rub some of it off there. You don't want to be heavy-handed on the paint because it's going to run down the edges of your drawing project and that'll look a little bit messy. So just use little blotting motions in order to smooth paint onto the tree. There you go. And remember, the tree has its leaves that kind of flow down, so maybe use downward strokes in order to mimic the tree's natural design. Okay, aren't these trees so beautiful? I'm so grateful for evergreens in the winter. They give us a touch of color when things look so sad. Okay, there you go. So you're going to blot the paint on in downward strokes. Try not to get any paint onto the little snowflakes. Okay, you can, if you want to, if you're worried about it, mask them off with a bit of masking tape, but if you're careful, then you should be fine. It doesn't matter if you get paint onto the frame because the frame is going to be glued, so all you're really going to see are the inside pieces inside of the frame. And it doesn't matter if your tree is a little bit shaded, because that's what they naturally look like. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It really just needs to look natural. Okay, so that's the first layer of my first green tree, and I actually quite like the streakiness of it. Okay, you can add extra layers if you want it to be less streaky and you want a more even coverage, then just add more layers onto it, but let it dry in between because otherwise you're just going to drag the paint up with you. All right, so did you see how little paint I needed? Okay, so let me do the next tree. So I'm going to do this little chap now. Okay, there we go. I'm going to just blot some paint onto this guy. Okay, there we go. And you can do one with more coverage than the other to give you a little bit of dimension between your two different trees. There we go. I'm going to need a little bit more paint. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to blot off the excess, and I'm going to add more paint onto this tree. If you wanted to, you could even make your tree white for a white forest. Okay, there we go. That's painted, and I have not done the stars. Okay, so that's the green. All right, set it aside to dry. All right, are you ready to paint some white snowflakes? I know I am. Okay, so you have 3 different sections that have snowflakes on them. Blot your new sponge wedge into the white paint. Again, be sparing. Rather do a couple of coats than one that is too thick that runs. Okay, so let me show you on this one. Okay, you're just going to carefully blot white paint onto each snowflake. Okay, there you go. Ever so carefully. All right, do you see that? And you're going to do that on every one of your snowflakes. And it doesn't matter if you go onto the frame, because that's going to be covered. There you go. So once you've painted all your snowflakes, you can add a second layer if you want the coverage to be a little bit more intense. And you can also paint your little wooden sign. Same white paint, and just smooth on as many layers as you want for it to give you the coverage that you desire. There we go. Go. Once all your snowflakes are painted, and if your trees are dry and you don't want to add extra coats of paint, you can use the same sponge wedge that you used for your snowflakes. Make sure it's fairly dry. So if you blot it onto your hand or somewhere, not too much will come off. And then this is optional. You can use that sponge wedge that is fairly dry, and you can rub it across the top and the sides of your tree, just ever so slightly, to make it look like the snow has fallen onto the tree. Okay, so not too much, just a tiny little bit. And if you feel like suddenly you've gone too heavy-handed, just cover it up with green again. So I'm going to do that one. Are you guys having fun? I certainly am. Right, so I have all of my different frames on the side here drying, and while they're dry, we can go ahead with the top layer, which is going to be the simplest of the frames. Now you have a choice here. You can either use white paint and paint the frame in white, or you can use gold paint. I am going to use gold because I like a little bit of shimmer to it. So you're going to use your final sponge wedge. This is really, really nice gold paint, so hold on to the leftovers. You're going to want to use it. Again, not too much paint, just use it sparingly, and blot paint onto the frame. Can you see how beautiful that shimmer is? Look how beautiful it shimmers. And it's not over the top. It's just that tiny little bit of luster that is going to make this little tree pop, especially if you're getting lights. The lights will catch on the little glitter sparks. I also wanted to just show you, while you've got gold on your brush, without recharging the brush, just with whatever's left on there, you can go over your snowflakes a little bit to give them a little sparkle as well. So all you're going to do is just sweep them ever so slightly over your snowflakes. And it's not a lot, it's just a little bit to give just a hint of sparkle. Okay, there you go. And I'm going to do that on all my snowflakes because I love that little bit of sparkle and a little bit of dimension it gives the snowflakes. You know, when you're skiing or when you're out in the snow and the snowflakes falling from the sky suddenly catch your eye because they're like little diamonds falling with all the little rainbows. Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it? So that's what this is going to do. You can also, if you want to, touch it ever so slightly onto your trees to give you some sparkle. I'm not going to paint my stems. I'm going to leave them natural. But by all means, if you want to paint your trees in brown, you can always use a brown crayon, or you can use an acrylic or chalk paint in order to color those in. So I will see you in 2 seconds to let you finish up with that, and then I will show you how we're going to assemble this beautiful thing. The last thing that you're going to have to paint is the little be still words. You can leave them in natural if you'd like to, or you can paint them in gold, or you can use a Sharpie in order to color them in. So all you're going to do is just color in the wood with your Sharpie. You can use different colors as well if you want to. If you wanted to use red or gold or silver or anything like that, you could do that instead. Or you could use paint, but this is way easier and way less messy. There you go, that's the still. All right, so there we go. And if you wanted to paint your base, you could paint your base as well. You could either do it in gold, or you could do it in white or green. So it's totally up to you. I am going to leave mine in natural. Okay, there we go. I'm done with my wording.